Everyone loves pizza. But eating the same iteration of this crowd-pleasing meal every night can get a little, well, mundane. That's why registered dietitian Kristen Carli has put a unique spin on this family favorite meal that you'll crave any time of day: egg pizza. Rainbow Six Parasite was spotted being streamed on Twitch earlier today and was taken down shortly after. However, it wasn't taken down quite quickly enough, as users were able to nab some screenshots and details from the technical test of this as yet unreleased title. This makes a great entree for any meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Carli says. If you've never tried egg pizza before, you're honestly missing out. This is a delicious pizza, and everyone should give it a shot, Carli assures. Chiefly, we now know that Rainbow Six Parasite plays similarly to the Rainbow Six Outbreak, a limited-time mode that was introduced in Rainbow Six Siege back in 2018. We also now know that this Rainbow Six Parasite technical test on PC allows for cross-platform play. As such, it seems pretty much a lock at this point that Ubisoft will have cross-platform play in the PS4 and PS5 versions of the game as well. In terms of gameplay then, Rainbow Six Parasite appears to be what we expected: a cooperative PvE experience where players must complete timed objectives and rescue downed operators. As such, it looks like that Rainbow Six Parasite is shaping up to be a fully fledged take on the previously mentioned Rainbow Six Siege Outbreak mode. In Rainbow Six Parasite, players appear to be fighting against a mutant menace called the Archaeans, which have nests dotted around the map which spew forth enemies should they be disturbed. Based on the footage, we also know that the following Rainbow Six operators will be in the game: Alibi Ella Finca Lion Tachanka Vigil. Now of course, it's also worth mentioning at this point that Rainbow Six Parasite likely won't be called that when it is finally revealed to the world. And anyone who's reluctant to give it a try may be surprised. In addition to enjoying Carli's inventive pizza, you will also be so proud when you put your delicious creation on the table, since the recipe calls for a homemade dough and fresh toppings. This is because Ubisoft has already said that the title is a placeholder and nothing more. Also recently disclosed was the fact that Rainbow Six Parasite, or whatever it ends up being called, and Far Cry 6, will both release by the end of March 2022. And yes, you can make pizza dough, we promise. Carli guides home cooks through each step of the process, from beginning to end. Gather your ingredients for egg pizza. For your pizza dough, you'll need to shop for and/or gather instant yeast, honey, canola oil, whole wheat flour, all-purpose flour, and salt. So potentially, we've got a fair old wait on our hands. As it is, we would expect Ubisoft to reveal Rainbow Six Parasite sometime this summer. This recipe also calls for jarred pizza sauce, so choose your favorite or make your own pizza sauce if you have extra time and feel inclined. In addition, you'll need a Roma tomato, which should be thinly sliced, basil leaves, julienne, and 4 eggs for the toppings. So stay tuned. Source: What If Gaming, Vio, Reset Era. That's it. As far as why Carli uses honey for her crust, she says, the yeast needs a form of sugar to live. That being said, she adds, you could substitute granulated sugar if needed. Once you have your ingredients assembled, pull out your stand mixer to form your dough. Then, get ready to feel super accomplished, because you're about to make homemade pizza dough. Make your homemade pizza dough. Start the dough making process by putting 1½ cups warm water, 1 tablespoon instant yeast, and 1½ tablespoons honey in the bowl of your stand mixer. As Carli instructs, you will stir the ingredients to combine, pausing to allow them to rest and get foamy. This will take about 5 minutes. Next, add 2 tablespoons canola oil, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 cups whole wheat flour, and 1½ cups all-purpose flour. Using the paddle attachment, mix everything until it's well combined. Then, use your dough hook attachment, and keep mixing for about 5 more minutes in order to form a smooth ball. At this point, transfer your pizza dough to an oiled bowl. Move the dough around until the whole dough ball is coated with oil. Place a kitchen towel over your bowl and, we know this part is hard, allow the dough to rise for an hour. You will notice that during this time, the dough will rise about double in size, Carli notes. Once you have patiently waited for an hour for that dough to rise, punch down your dough ball and take it out of the bowl. You will move the dough to a floured surface, and cut it in half. Carli recommends using a bench scraper for this step. You will form 2 balls of dough, then let the dough rise for an additional 10 minutes before moving on to assembling your pizzas. Assemble your pizzas first, Preheat the oven to 425 degrees. Carli advises placing your pizza pan in the oven to heat up as you roll out your dough. Using a rolling pin, roll out two 12 to 14-inch rounds of dough. Each will be placed onto a big sheet of parchment paper. And then, it's time for toppings. Spoon half of your jarred sauce of choice atop each dough round. Then, evenly space out the mozzarella cheese slices on the dough, and arrange the thinly sliced tomato. The next step is where you transform your pizza into a special entree that's going to change pizza night as you know it. Crack 2 eggs ever so carefully into the center of each pizza. The pizzas are now oven ready. And we know you are ready to sink your teeth into this meal. The good news is, you don't have to wait too much longer. Bake your egg pizza, and serve. You will bake the pizza for about 15 minutes. But of course, every oven is different. We asked Carli how to know when the pizza is done, without under or overcooking this crave-worthy creation. Because, who hasn't either burned pizza crust, or ended up with dough that was too soft? Plus, with the egg, cooking this pizza might seem a little tricky, but don't fret. The egg whites will be solid, but the yolk will be loose and jiggly, Carli says. Once your pizza is removed from the oven, top the bubbly, cheesy meal with your colorful, julienne basil. Repeat the pizza assembly and baking steps with your second pizza. And now, it is finally time to enjoy this special treat. You should definitely eat up, because as Carli says, this unfortunately, does not keep well, so I recommend eating it in one sitting as opposed to making enough for leftovers. 2 cups whole wheat flour, 1½ cups all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon instant yeast, 1½ cups warm water, 1½ tablespoons honey, 2 tablespoons canola oil, 1 teaspoon salt, 14-ounce jar pizza sauce, 16 ounces sliced mozzarella cheese, 1 Roma tomato, thinly sliced 6 basil leaves, julienne. 4 eggs. Make the dough by placing 1½ cups warm water, 1 tablespoon instant yeast, and 1½ tablespoons honey in the bowl of a stand mixer. Stir to combine, then stop and allow to rest to get foamy and bubbly for about 5 minutes. Add 2 tablespoons canola oil, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 cups whole wheat flour, and 1½ cups all-purpose flour. Mix using the paddle attachment until combined. Using the dough hook attachment, continue to mix dough for about 5 minutes until a smooth ball forms. Remove the dough and transfer to an oiled bowl. Rotate the dough so that the entire ball is coated in oil. Place a kitchen towel over bowl and allow to rise for an hour. After an hour has elapsed, punch down the ball and remove from the bowl. Place the dough on a floured surface. Cut dough in half using a bench scraper and make 2 balls of dough. Let the dough rest for about 10 minutes. Preheat oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and place your pizza pan in oven to warm up. Using a rolling pin, roll out 2 12 to 14-inch rounds, placing each on a large sheet of parchment paper. Assemble pizza by spooning over half the jar of pizza sauce. Top with half of the mozzarella and half of the tomato slices. Crack 2 eggs carefully into the center of the pizza. Bake for 15 minutes. Remove from oven and top off with half of basil. Repeat pizza assembly and baking steps with second pizza.